If you're in any industry that has to do some serious cleaning, I'm talking automotive, food processing, you name it, you know the drill. It's a constant battle against mess, downtime, and of course, all those harsh chemicals. Well, today, we're going to look at a technology that promises to change all that. Dry ice blasting. Okay, let's get right into it.
So, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about the big headaches that come with traditional industrial cleaning. Then, we'll dive into the science of how dry ice blasting actually works. It's pretty cool. After that, we'll get practical and talk about how to choose a machine, look at a real-world case study with the Aiolith AI30, and finally, we'll wrap it all up with the hard science that validates this whole process.
All right, let's start with the problem itself. Because, the real cost of cleaning, it isn't just about the price of the cleaning agents, it's everything else that comes along for the ride.
Does this feel a little too familiar? You spend hours, maybe even days, on cleanup just to face the exact same problems again and again. It is a massive pain point for so many businesses out there.
Let's just run through these common frustrations, right? You've got that chemical residue that can mess with your products. You've got long downtimes that absolutely kill your productivity. You're dealing with harsh chemicals that are a safety risk, moisture that can lead to rust or mold, and maybe the biggest one of all, secondary waste. I mean, you literally have to clean up your own cleaning materials. It's this vicious cycle that costs a ton of time and money.
So this brings us to the solution. Dry ice blasting tackles every single one of those frustrations head-on, and it does it with some really fascinating science. At its core, the idea is pretty simple. You take these small, solid pellets of carbon dioxide, yep, that's dry ice, and you shoot them at a surface with compressed air. But the real magic happens the second they hit. The pellets don't melt, they sublimate. They go straight from a solid to a gas in a flash.
Okay, so here's how that works in 4 quick steps. The pellets smack the surface, creating these tiny little explosions of gas that just lift the gunk right off. But the most important part, the real game changer, is step 4. Because the CO2 just turns into a harmless gas and disappears, there is absolutely zero secondary waste. Just think about that for a second. No water, no chemicals, no sand you have to get rid of later, just the original grime which you can now just sweep up. Easy.
So the tech is obviously impressive, but how do you actually get it into your workflow? Let's switch gears and talk about the practical side of all this.
Your first big decision is, do you rent or do you buy? Renting makes a lot of sense if you just have one big project you need to knock out. But if cleaning is a regular part of your business, weekly maintenance on machinery or production lines, the source material is pretty clear. Buying is going to give you a way better return on your investment. In many cases, these things pay for themselves in just a few months.
And if you do decide to buy, these are the 5 key features you've got to pay attention to. Hopper capacity. That tells you how long you can work without stopping. Dry ice output. That's all about your cleaning speed. Noise level is a huge safety factor. Durability, well, in an industrial setting, that's a no-brainer. And finally, you have to make sure it'll actually work with your air compressor. Trust me, getting any one of these wrong can cause some serious headaches down the line. To make this all feel a bit more real, let's look at a specific example from the source material, the Aiolith AI30. We're going to use it to see how those features we just talked about actually play out in the real world. The very first thing that jumps out at you is the hopper capacity. The AI30 holds nearly twice as much dry ice as your average machine. Now, that might sound like a minor detail, but it's a total game changer for downtime because you're stopping to refill half as often. This side-by-side really tells the story. For example, look at the casing material. Your standard machines often use thin metal, which, as you know, can get dented up and rusty pretty quick. The AI30 uses this hard shell rotational plastic, which is way more resistant to impacts and corrosion. The dry ice output is higher too, which just means faster, more efficient cleaning. So the big takeaway here is that these specific design choices are there to solve common problems for users.
And speaking of problems, let's look at some quotes from actual users. Here's one from an automotive plant dealing with a classic issue, overheating during long jobs. Just constant stopping and starting. So frustrating. And the solution for that is baked right into the machine's design. The AI30's internal airflow and its casing are specifically engineered to keep temperature stable. That lets it run and run without all those annoying interruptions. Okay, here's another one. A food manufacturing facility found that simply moving their old machine around the plant was wrecking it. Dents, rust, which, as you can imagine, is a huge problem in a food-safe environment.
And this goes right back to that casing material we just saw. That rotational mold shell is tough. It can take a hit, and since it's plastic, it literally can't rust. Problem solved.
And finally, we've got a maintenance contractor hitting on the exact point we touched on earlier. A small hopper means you're always stopping your workflow to refill it, and that's just wasting valuable time.
And here is the direct payoff of that huge 44-pound hopper. You can just run for longer, continuous cycles. Fewer interruptions means the job gets done faster, and your labor costs go down. It's such a simple feature, but it has a massive impact on your overall efficiency.
So, we've seen the theory and we've heard from the users, but this isn't just about one machine's cool features. This entire method is backed by some serious science. Let's take a quick look.
And this isn't just marketing talk. We're talking about peer-reviewed studies that confirm all these benefits. The Journal of Food Engineering found it effectively removes microbial contamination. That's huge for food safety. Surface and coatings technology proved it's less abrasive, meaning your expensive equipment is going to last longer. And the Authority on Corrosion, NACE International, showed it minimizes the risk of rust you get with water. The bottom line is, this is an industry-standard, scientifically proven technology.
So, we'll end with this one question for you. When you really factor in all the downtime, the cost of dealing with secondary waste, and the damage to your equipment, is your current cleaning process actually helping you, or is it hurting your bottom line? This explainer shows there are powerful, proven alternatives out there that might just change the way you think about industrial cleaning for good.